how to let go of someone you can't forget. Have you ever tried to forget someone, but the harder you try, the more they appear? In your dreams, in familiar places, even in the smallest everyday moments. Like an uninvited guest, they occupy your entire mind. And what if I told you that what you're remembering isn't really that person, but only an illusion created by your own mind? Buddhism offers a very different perspective on this, and if you truly understand it, it could forever change the way you see this pain. In today's video, I won't just explain why they're still there, but I'll also share gentle yet incredibly powerful practices so that you can finally free yourself from the endless loop of longing. Number 1, the trap of the mind. When longing becomes chains. There's a paradox. The more we try to forget, the more we remember. Just like when you keep telling yourself, don't think about that person anymore, their image instantly appears even more vividly. That's the trap of the mind. The more you resist, the tighter it holds. In Buddhism, this phenomenon is called attachment, clinging to an image, an emotion, and believing it is mine. But in truth, what you miss is not that person, themselves, but a version of them in your memory. It is only a fragment, a shadow in the mind, not the living person out there anymore. Think of a familiar situation. You've just gone through a breakup, but every time you pass by the cafe where you once sat together, your heart aches. You're not truly remembering the cafe, nor the person as they are now. You're recalling the moment when you once felt happy, and then the unconscious mind keeps replaying that scene over and over, turning longing into an invisible chain. A small practice you can try right away. Next time their image appears, don't force it away. Instead, close your eyes and whisper to yourself, "It's just a thought that has arisen." Then take a deep breath. Feel the inhale and exhale. Just 1 minute is enough for the image to fade a little and the chains in your mind to loosen. And it is only when we see through this trap that we can step into a greater truth. Everything is impermanent. Even the endless longing you thought would never fade. Number 2, the first truth, impermanence. If the trap of the mind is attachment, then the key to freedom lies in recognizing impermanence. The Buddha taught that everything, objects, emotions, and people, is in constant change. Nothing can remain still forever. Not love, not attachment, not even the longing that seems to tighten around your heart. Think back. There were friends who were once so close to you in high school, yet now you hardly keep in touch. There were songs that once made you cry uncontrollably, yet years later, when you hear them again, they only stir a faint nostalgia. This shows that even emotions we thought would last forever are, in truth, only temporary. So why should the longing you feel now be any different? It too is just a passing stream in the mind. The issue isn't whether it exists or not, but that we insist on holding it in place. Each time longing rises, remind yourself with a simple phrase, "This too shall pass." These words are a gentle reminder that no feeling lasts forever, not even pain. And once we embrace impermanence, we begin to see a deeper truth, karma and conditions, that every encounter has its reason, and every parting holds its own meaning. Number 3, Karma and conditions. When the bond has reached its end. In Buddhism, every meeting begins with conditions of karma. When the conditions are ripe, we meet. When they end, we part. It may sound harsh, but in fact, it is one of the most beautiful truths. We come into each other's lives to learn a lesson along our spiritual journey. Think of an old friend. Perhaps you only knew each other for a few months, but in that short time, you learned something important: self-confidence, kindness, or even how to rise after heartbreak. When the karmic conditions are fulfilled, that person leaves your life like a traveler checking out of an inn after completing their journey. Here's a simple example. You once had a university romance, believing, "This is the one, I'll love them forever." But after graduation, life took you in different directions, and feelings slowly faded. At the time, you suffered, believing love had died. But looking back, you see that period taught you what it means to love, to share, to care. Without them, you might not have grown into who you are today. So when you remember someone who has left, instead of asking, "Why aren't they here anymore?" try asking, "What lesson did they bring into my life?" Once you find the answer, you'll feel lighter, because you've realized that the karmic bond has already fulfilled its role. And from accepting karma and conditions, we uncover an even deeper truth. Sometimes what we long for isn't truly that person, but the inner space they once filled within us. Number 4, the inner void. Who are you really missing? Sometimes what we cling to isn't truly that person, but the feeling we once had when being with them. Perhaps they gave us attention, joy, or simply the comfort of being needed. And when they left, what disappeared wasn't just a person, but also the space within us that we didn't yet know how to fill on our own. Imagine this. You once had a relationship where every night you texted each other before bed. After the breakup, no one asks, "How was your day?" anymore, and suddenly the loneliness feels unbearable. But if you look closer, you'll realize what you miss isn't just them, but the sense of being cared for, the reassurance you once received. It is that emptiness that keeps your mind holding onto their image again and again. In Buddhism, this is seen as another form of illusion, giving someone else the power to complete you. In truth, only we ourselves can offer real love and peace to our own hearts. The next time longing floods your chest, pause and gently ask, "Do I miss this person? Or do I miss the feeling I had when I was with them?" Then, give yourself a small act of kindness. Cook yourself a nice meal, write a few comforting lines in your journal, or simply sit in stillness and breathe mindfully. And as you slowly learn how to nurture yourself, you gain the strength to take the next important step, observing longing with mindfulness instead of letting it control you. Number 5. Observing without attachment. Mindfulness. When longing floods in, our first reaction is often resistance. We rush to push it away. Stop thinking about them, forget it. But the more we fight, the deeper the image imprints. Like ink that spreads, the more you try to wipe it. In Buddhism, the Buddha offered another way. Instead of resisting, observe with mindfulness. Mindfulness means being aware of what is happening without judgment, without clinging. Like watching a cloud drift across the sky, you don't hold on to it, nor do you need to chase it away. A very simple example, you're cooking, and suddenly their image pops into your mind. Instead of scolding yourself for being weak, just whisper silently, "A thought has arisen." Then return to the aroma of the food, to the crackling sound of fire in the pan. In that moment, you're no longer a victim of longing, you're its observer. Spend at least 1 minute each day sitting quietly, closing your eyes, simply watching thoughts come and go. When an image arises, don't resist, don't cling. Just notice it and breathe softly. This practice trains the mind to form a new habit, non-attachment. And when we can observe without— Number 6, turning longing into compassion. When we cling to longing, the heart is often filled with suffering, blaming them, blaming ourselves, or blaming fate. But the Buddha taught that there is one energy powerful enough to dissolve those chains: compassion. Instead of letting longing turn into jealousy, regret, or pain, we can transform it into a blessing. Each time their image arises, instead of tormenting yourself with, "Why did they leave me?" whisper softly, "May you be at peace, may you be happy." It may sound difficult, but in reality, it is deeply liberating. For example, after a breakup, instead of drowning in sorrow, someone chooses to spend 1 minute each night silently sending good wishes to their former partner. After a few weeks, they realize that longing is no longer a sharp blade, but has softened into a passing breeze. In Buddhism, this is called Metta, loving kindness. When we send love outward without needing to possess, we too are healed. So, each time you miss them, see it as a signal to practice loving kindness. You can start very simply. May you be well. May I be well too. Both of you are then embraced in a gentle, unbinding energy. And once longing has been transformed into a wholesome force, you are ready for the next step, creating a ritual of closure so that your heart may truly find its resting place. Number 7. The ritual of closure. Write a letter and burn it. Some longings cannot be soothed by reason alone. The human mind sometimes needs a symbolic ritual, a clear full stop to a story that has gone on too long. One simple way many have found healing: write a letter to that person with no intention of sending it. In the letter, pour out everything, the words left unsaid, apologies, gratitude, even tears. Write fully, write completely, leaving nothing behind in your heart. Then, choose a quiet moment to burn the letter, or tear it into pieces and release it into flowing water. The image of flames rising or water carrying it away becomes a symbol of letting go. It doesn't erase the memories, but it helps your mind understand. I have closed this chapter. For example, a young woman, 2 years after her breakup, still could not forget her ex. One night, she wrote 10 pages in her journal addressed to him, then burned them in silence. As the ashes rose, she cried deeply. But the next morning, for the first time in years, her heart felt lighter. Try creating your own ritual of closure. It might be writing a letter and burning it, or simply folding it away into a small box. The action itself is less important than the message you send to yourself. It's time to move on, and once you can close the past, the natural next step emerges. In that open space, you now have the chance to plant new seeds for your soul. Number 8. Planting new seeds. When one door closes, if we only sit in the dark room, the shadows will slowly consume the soul. But if we dare to step out, there are countless new paths waiting. Letting go is not only about clearing away the old, it's about planting the new. In Buddhism, there is a simple truth. As you sow, so shall you reap. If you keep watering the seeds of longing and sorrow, the fruit will only be more suffering. But if you start planting seeds of joy, of discovery, of self-love, the harvest will be peace and new happiness. For example, after a breakup, someone finally signed up for the dance class they had always dreamed of but never tried. At first, it was just to fill the emptiness, but soon they found real joy in every step. Through it, they not only forgot the pain, but also discovered a new version of themselves. Choose a new seed for your soul today. It might be a skill, a habit, or a healthy new relationship. What matters is not how big or small the seed is, but that you consciously plant it. And when these new seeds begin to sprout, you'll realize an important truth. Letting go doesn't mean losing someone. It means returning wholly to yourself. Number 9. Conclusion. Letting go is returning to yourself. In the end, the journey of letting go is not about erasing someone completely, but about learning to remember without pain. That person may still live in your memory, but instead of being a wound, they become a memory, gentle, no longer tearing at your heart. Buddhism teaches that all suffering arises from clinging to the self, believing they belong to me, or this love must last forever. But when you see the truth of impermanence and conditions, you understand that no one truly belongs to anyone. We are all travelers passing through each other's lives, here to learn a lesson together before moving on. And after they leave, what remains is you, with growth, with experience, and with a heart that knows how to love itself more deeply. For example, someone who once suffered for years after heartbreak, one day looked back and smiled. If not for that breakup, I would never have become the stronger, wiser person I am now. Letting go, it turns out, is not about losing, but about receiving yourself back in a new form. Try seeing the journey of letting go not as a farewell, but as a return, returning to the breath, to the small joys, and to a heart wide enough to hold both love and longing. Then release them like passing clouds. And perhaps this is the greatest gift that letting go offers: freedom, peace, and a self lighter than ever before. In the end, letting go is not forgetting someone. It is remembering them without pain. They may still be in your memory, but now only as a gentle recollection, no longer tearing at your heart. Letting go is returning to yourself, a journey home, to your breath, to peace, and to a heart wide enough to embrace both love and longing. Then let them dissolve like clouds. If this video has touched you, please share your own experience of letting go in the comments. Don't forget to like, share with those who may need it, and subscribe so we can continue walking together on this path toward inner peace.